We will be televised, and we are on the air with the Scallywags Sketchcast. I'm your host, Dern. With me, as always, is my co-host, O, and this week our special guest is Danielle Corsetto. Say hello,
Hi.
Danielle.
There you go. There's a wave. Hi.
Danielle, you are actually going to be, I believe, our first guest doing the old school, not actually doing digital work.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that.
Yes. So we'll be cracking in the webcam view. In fact, let's just go ahead and switch over your camera there. Why do you fear the digital?
I do not fear the digital at all. I don't like the digital, and it's nothing against digital except that I don't like sitting in front of a screen. I really like sitting down and having that like tactile experience of your pencil hitting the paper kind of thing.
Okay.
So, it's just what I enjoy.
And O, who has over the past year made digital his bitch. What are we working on tonight?
We are working on a promo image for Bone Breakers, and
Wait, you'll be working on Bone Breakers for promotional image, right?
yes,
Yeah. I believe Danielle will be working. You're working on a promotional image for Girls with Slingshots, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. But both you guys are doing promotional images, something a little different than what we've done in the past.
yeah. The internet was asked which character from Bone Breakers they liked best, and it seems that things remain the same, where Tiger is still people's favorite.
Yeah, it's going to take a while to shake that. All right. Just for...
I don't see a need to, but...
Yeah, I will destroy Were Tiger. I will burn him to the ground. That being said, for absolutely no reason whatsoever, I am going to start the battle clock. I'm going to put 90 minutes on it right there, and we're going to start the countdown. So, ready, fight.
Oh, is there a fight? Do I need to like kick out?
No, you don't have to listen to him. He just likes, the sound of his voice and stuff.
I'm on Team O. O, win this one, buddy. Is that against the rules?
So,
yeah, I actually do think it's illegal to bet against yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that was Pete Rose's defense, that it was okay that he bet on baseball because he only bet on himself. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't think you get much of an option here. Daniel, you got to bet for yourself.
Well,
So
alright, go
greetings,
Team
viewers.
Danielle. Go Team Danielle.
We assure you we were not delaying the start of this to coincide with the finishing up of the East Coast viewing of Game of Thrones. Although apparently that just happened.
Wait,
Well, yeah, but, everything works out for the best, I guess, in that scenario.
I didn't even know it was still going. Is that still a...
Season 4 just started up. They have enough material that they could do about 10 seasons.
Oh, yeah. I only
Yeah.
just realized that it was a book first, or a series of books first. I had no idea.
I got into the books after the first season, which may have been like the worst time possible to get into the books.
Oh.
Because you get into the books, you realize that the second season is terrible. We were just in Seattle last weekend for Emerald City, and when we were having that dinner with Somer, I don't know if you saw my frothing nerd rage when Somer was going off about how great how great the show was, and I'm like, season 2 is the devil, but season 3 was good. But the problem is that this put me in the worst possible waiting period, in that I'm now stuck waiting for book 6, book 5, book 5. Book 6.
Wait, why are you waiting for it? Didn't it come out ages
no,
ago?
No, book 5 came out ages ago, but book 6 and 7 still haven't happened yet.
I assumed they were all written in the 90s or something like that. I had no idea.
They started I want to say they started in the 90s, but Gurm has taken his time with those.
So Danielle is in my camp of I'll watch it when I get to it.
No, I've watched a few of them. I'm more in your camp than most people's camps, I guess, though. I've watched a few of them and I really liked them. I actually watched them in Denmark, funny enough. But it's because I was on vacation and I basically just don't have time for it out here. So I kind of give up on anything that's going to require more than about an hour and a half.
Oh, so you are definitely in my camp.
There we go then. All right.
Right.
Yeah, I thought they were great, the ones that I saw, but I cannot get into TV series because I do not have the time for that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's really an investment. I can only watch TV series that don't require me to look at them.
And
No,
it's a
there are.
very,
Like, I watch sitcoms. Sitcoms don't really need you to look at them, so
Right.
I watch sitcoms.
the borderline radio theater, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it makes
so-
sense.
Yeah, so I occasionally watch them until I can recite them, and that's what I do.
There you go.
Yeah, so Game of Thrones, I watched the first 2 seasons, and the third season, I guess maybe I burned out because I just watched them all like on a weekend that like I didn't work.
Well, I think third season just came out for like non-HBO subscribing viewing.
Yeah, let's.
That might have also been.
Yeah, let's
I
look at
haven't
it
seen
from. Yeah, let's say I'm subscribed to HBO. Why not?
Let's well, no, not that you're like you were waiting for the Blu-ray. Totally not at all planning on pirating them.
Yeah. Why not? Let's look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I suppose I burned out by season 3, and it started feeling like homework. So I just said, I'll get back to this some other time.
No, season 2 was a bit laborious, I would say. Season 3 is damn good. Like they spend like the first episode or two pulling things by their teeth to get them back to where the books are, and then the final 8 episodes of it, it just clicks so fast. And I mean, you're getting the dragons, you're getting the blood, you're getting the boobs, you're getting the everything that people tuned in for or enjoyed in the books. Blood, dragon, and boobs.
Well, okay, but let's not make the show about Game of Thrones. People just saw it, I suppose.
Yes.
We don't need to talk about it.
Or for those of us on the West Coast now, we'll get to see it in a couple hours. Yeah. I don't think so, yeah. Yeah, I'm getting used to the Hollywood lifestyle, so my tan is already 2 shades darker.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, we're dealing promotional material here. Danielle, what are you...
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, so what I'm doing is over the summer I'm going to be doing a cross-country tour. I'm going to be doing a tour of 41 days. I'll be doing 21 signings and 2 conventions, and I'm going to be hitting something like 27 or 30 different cities. Anyway, it's a big deal for me. I've wanted to do this all of my life, and I figured since I have a company and I can kind of just blame it on the company instead of being like, oh, I want to take off a month and a half. I'd be like, no, I'm doing it for work. I'm going to be doing some promotional postcards and doing this all to do like signings across the states in places where I haven't done conventions before. Mm-hmm. And so this is for the postcards. I'm going to be doing a Kickstarter in probably a month and a half or a month just to raise funds for it, so it'll be a little bit easier. I'm having 4 different assistants coming with me. So for the Kickstarter incentives or rewards or whatever they're called, I still haven't learned the lingo for Kickstarter. I don't even know anything about Kickstarter. I hope Kickstarter takes tours. I hear they do. Mm-hmm. I'll be doing postcards for people who do probably like $5 donations or more, and changing this into a poster as well and making that available as one of the rewards. So this is the piece that's going to be used for that.
And this is your 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, October 1st is going to mark the 10-year.
Yeah. And then, your...
This is our 10-year anniversary, too.
Oh, really?
This actually is.
10.
It's your 10-year anniversary.
It's a magical number.
It's my 10 years making webcomics.
Nice.
And out of a weird just quirk, the way you've been making your comic, this is technically the first time that you've ever had a book made of commissions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this is actually something that when you first hired me on as your business manager, it was my job to go through the comic and figure out what I could merchandise. And I actually tried putting books together of your early stuff. It's just that there was no uniform size to any of your early strips.
Well, you can blame Scott McCloud on that.
Yes, that damn fucking infinite canvas. You know what? But anyhow,
blame Scott McCloud. Good.
I do. The infinite canvas is a terrible idea.
I don't really know how you feel about Scott McCloud, but you can blame him.
Not up to that comment.
From a merchandising standpoint, I hate the infinite canvas. From a creative standpoint, I'm like, sure, yeah, do whatever you can. But you know what? If you want to make money, you got to make it so you can put it in the book.
Yeah, I think you should get creative and make it creative, and then find out a way to put it into a book. You know? I'm saying that as somebody.
Wait, you're saying that as somebody whose format was established 100 years ago.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. I like it, so I stuck with it. But if something else was going to work, I would just, do that, and then. I mean, I don't like the infinite canvas thing for myself, but for other people, they've done some incredible things by just playing around with the lack of limitations that you have on creating digital media. Creating media that is intended for the internet. If you want to make merchandise out of it, you just have to get creative and find a new way to do it.
I don't know. I mean, throughout the years, I've kind of changed my attitude on that. What I think now is, there are a lot of benefits from having a fixed format, and one of them is I firmly believe that limitations kind of push creativity. So
true. This is true.
So, like when you tell people you can't use any colors, when you tell people you have to work on this size, it kind of boosts their creativity. And honestly, with Bone Breakers, I've been having a lot more fun since we just decided, okay, this is the format.
Once you had that tight, tight box to fit in, so to speak.
Yeah, it's kind of like when they tell you, like, draw whatever you want, and immediately your brain just goes, nope.
But see, I think it depends on the person, because while I'm one of those people, I admit, and this is probably part of the reason that I stick with the 4-panel, 5-panel comic strip format. I see other people who, they're like, draw whatever you want, and they come up with incredible things. Unfortunately, my brain doesn't work that way, but some people's it kind of does. I think it just depends on the artist.
Okay. I did want to point out, I don't think you even know this, actually, because I told you, like, yeah, we need a promotional image, and you wanted to do this. This is actually what you're doing is going to be a print that is going to be available for the pre-order for Bone Breakers. It will also be available at our book signing party that we're going to be having at A-Kon, which is in Dallas, Texas, I believe the first weekend in June. I'm going to get that date for you correct in just a second. Yes.
Speaking of just a second, I should actually tell people what I'm doing on this thing, so maybe they'll come over and join us. Hello, Twitter.
Oh, yeah, yes. There's a link. There's a link in the chat.
Oh, also Obsidian. I guess you're not just at Obsidian, are you?
No, Abnormal.
Yes.
Oh, that's kind of funny. Let me fix that real quick.
I want to say Obsidian is actually like the video game company, Obsidian Entertainment. Yeah.
That would be correct.
Mm-hmm. June 6th through 8th will be in Texas. I'm also cracking up at you, Danielle, because I was looking at your tour dates, and it looks like when you finally make it out to LA, that's going to be like one of the few times in the summer when I'm not in LA.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, you have it like the first half of San Diego weekend. Whereas San Diego is like an entire week, and then, yeah, so you're doing like the first few days in LA, then you're sneaking down to San Diego for half of Comic-Con.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, getting it in small doses.
Yeah, I think it's the only way that I can handle it. I can't do. I've done it before, and I just can't. It's just not my thing.
And we've talked about this in the past. That's actually something I have a lot of respect for you for. Is that you know that you don't like Comic-Con, you avoid it as much as you can.
Yeah.
Because I have seen some creators that they go there because they think they have to, and they complain when they're there. And I, we approach it very differently. We bathe in Comic-Con. We fucking love that show.
To be there.
Yeah. Like, we're doing dance parties in the booth. I think, let's not talk about Balls Deep yet, but that's the name of our secret project that we may unleash this year at Comic-Con.
Balls Deep.
We have a question, and for also the viewers that are checking in, if you go to the Google Plus Hangout page, there is a question and answer button thing that you can click it, send a question in to us, and we can answer them as we go. I'll also try to keep an eye on the comments on the YouTube page if you just ask the question in the comments there. But the question and answer widget is working correctly tonight, amazingly, given all of our technical difficulties tonight. But with that widget working, I'm going to keep an eye on those questions. So first question is, hey guys, who came up with the new name for Commissioned which is calling it the Bone Breakers. Did O come up with that, or did Dern come up with that?
I think this is one of those cases where this was a genuine idea of both of us, right? Like,
I'm throwing it out there because I know it was on the van ride up to Connecticut.
Yeah,
and it was towards the end. I knew it had to change because we couldn't call it The Adventures of Dwarf Elf and Were-Tiger and have it be a mixed cast title. Or we couldn't have it be a story about 3 dudes and 3 ladies and name the book only after the 3 dudes. Like that wasn't going to be cool. So we were bandying about different names. I know I was just kind of spewing names out, and you were basically telling me whatever was sticking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
It's throw it against the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah, it's what in Spanish in design we call lluvia de ideas. We just kind of, idea rain. We just sat down and started thinking up names. Actually, the running joke.
Brainstorm in English, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In the comic, when they start basically mentioning like a bunch of stupid names, all having to do with boners, that joke actually just came from us.
Yeah.
Making those jokes when we were looking for a name.
A lot of those were actual potential names for the new comic when we were going through them. And I don't like throwing ideas away. Which, let's segue, double that back around to Miss Corsetto here. The dumbest question that you probably have gotten over and over again for the past 10 years, why did you call it Girls with Slingshots?
Oh, God. It's not a dumb question. It's a fair question, right? It's just an unfortunate question. It's an unfortunate answer, I guess. So back in 2000, I don't know, 2003, something like that, I was doing conventions. I would just go and do, like... Oh, by the way, if you can't tell, I can't draw and talk at the same time. So, Obsidian, you already won. Do you go by Obsidian or O?
I go by O.
Okay, cool. I just keep saying Obsidian.
Well, that's very respectful.
I don't know you very well, so. Mr. Obsidian. So I was doing conventions. I just didn't have like an actual one property I was working on. I had a few other things that were just like for fun, or they were online, but they weren't really being promoted heavily. But I guess I was doing commissions pretty often. And a lot of people wanted me to draw women because I suck at drawing men, actually, is the biggest reason. And for whatever reason, they always wanted me to draw women with guns, but I suck at drawing guns, too. I'm apparently just a total girl about drawing. I can totally draw horses, but not cars or guns or men. So I started drawing girls with slingshots instead. Every time someone would ask me for, like, a girl with a weapon, I'd just draw them with a slingshot. And the name was catchy. People would come over and ask me for, a girl with a slingshot, and... then somebody asked, when are you going to do this comic called Girls with Slingshots? We should. The name's, pretty catchy. And stuck with it. So it's a dumb story, but I don't know. It's it worked. Like, the name is memorable, apparently. People do remember it, so...
Well, I don't know what you guys think, but I do get a lot the question of how to... Not how I named the comic. This is probably the first name concerning Bone Breakers that we've gotten, which is kind of weird because it's a very, like, it's even explained in the comic. They fell on some bones and broke them. So yeah. But I do get a lot of questions concerning, like, how to name things, and I always answer that the best way to name things is the organic way, which is, the name just kind of appear.
Yeah.
They just happen.
Truth.
I mean, of course you can come up with a name if you have to, but the best names just kind of happen.
Mm-hmm.
I obsess about it a lot. Like that hands down is something that I think a lot about, and I'm always like, if I get a good idea, I like want to jot it down right away. So I'll have like lists and things. But for Bone Breakers, it basically came from the story first, and that's, I think, that's my main way of how I title things, is that I write the story first, then I name what it was. Like the title, unless it's a really damn good title, and then sometimes you can write the story off the title, but most of the time, story first, then the headline. than the title. I think that also comes from if you do journalism, and that's where my writing training was, journalists don't get to write their own headlines.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It is annoying as fuck. Especially for me personally, because I'm like a really serious control freak about my stories. Like, I want to control my little details. And I was a really good headline writer, and it was always so annoying to turn my story over and have just like a terrible headline get slapped on it by copy editors. That towards the end of my career, I was actually filing my stories with suggested headlines to the copy editor. Basically telling them how to do their job, but the good
I imagine
thing
a
was,
lot of them probably appreciated that. I mean, I imagine that's kind of the least favorite thing that they have to do, too.
It depends on the copy editor. Like, some of them get really into their headline writing. It's like, yeah, this is what we do. This is where we make our money. But for the most part, I think a lot of them were lazy and totally okay with me just doing part of their job. So that came out easier. Yeah. I'm totally cheating and writing down serious professional notes here for something that I can say later in the podcast. It's almost as if I'm trying now.
Oh.
Yes. I gotta say, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling a lot better now, so it's like I'm getting my energy back finally.
Well,
I think a lot of it had to do with finally getting back out on the road, finally getting out to a show. Dude, Seattle. Can we just geek out about that really quickly?
Well, you can do it on your own. I don't know if Danielle is going to join you, but...
Danielle was there, too.
I'm not going to geek out about it, but I sold out. I never sold out before. It was pretty fantastic.
You've been to that show before, though.
Yeah, probably about 5 or 6 years now at this point, too.
Yeah, like, it was your advice that I was like, okay, fine, I fucking have to do Emerald City.
Oh, was this your first time there?
That was my first time there.
Oh, rad! Did you have a great freaking time?
It was great. Well, okay, our booth, the Scallywags booth, we ended up having to be downstairs, which if you asked, like, half the people that went to that show, their initial reaction was there was a downstairs.
Yeah, I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, so it was downstairs, it was behind a pillar, and because of the pillar, they the convention center, not the convention, messed up the dimensions of the booths.
Oh.
So instead of me having a 10-foot wide booth, I initially had an 8-foot wide booth.
Oh, shoot.
With an 8-foot table. So I'm like, this is not physically possible. Like, I'm basically building a cage of my merchandise around me. So everything about this was horrible. And yet it was still a good show.
Ah, good.
Like, you know, I basically just kind of, like, as soon as people start showing up, you know, I put on my happy face and chugged some B12, and they made it amazing for me. So, I mean, the show staff themselves, they came out, they really helped me out.
Oh, good.
They moved me a couple spots down later, and so I had a 9-foot booth, so I actually could go out and pee. But other than that, like, it was just me on my own. Like, I was staying with the digital pimps, not Joe Dunn, but Phil and his booth babes. And so we were basically hanging out at night, but during the day it was just me by myself, and I didn't really notice it, despite this was my first show since the whole near-death thing in January. So it was good to get back into my natural environment. Like, I really do like being at conventions, so it felt comfy.
Cool.
Yeah. And you don't like being at conventions.
Well, no.
Okay, you... Okay.
I don't like being in San Diego Comic-Con or in any convention that lasts more than 3 days.
3 days is your limit, okay.
Yeah. In fact, I'm flying in on Thursday for Calgary. I should probably mention that on my website. I'm just going to skip Thursday entirely. There's no way. I didn't even know it was going to be 4 days.
Okay, we're now adjusting one of the notes that I was typing up. Mention later, okay.
Now I'm curious.
Oh no, I just want to make sure that I have it jotted down where the 3 of ours next appearances are all going to be.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, like I said, it's almost like I'm being professional. We have another question. Wow, and it is already up to a +3 on Google Plus here. I don't know what that means. So, I think
it's a good one.
I think the other readers get to, like, add points to it when they really want this question answered. Now we have a long-time commissioned reader asking a question for O, and he's never heard O's name explained. How did Obsidian happen? The name... Wait, there's a clarification here. The name, not the man, he knows where babies come from.
Okay.
Okay, so don't tell us about your parents boning.
Okay.
Whatever you do.
Actually, there is a... Okay, what happened is, well, I've played role-playing games my whole life. As a fantasy... Oh no, I thought Danielle's screen had froze for a second. Oh. No, she's just being very still.
Oh, I'm just very still.
So no, when I was a role player, I mean, no, I am a role player, but when I was a teenager, like most of the books and all that kind of stuff, they would always mention obsidian as the rock that they would use to, like, make buildings in hell and stuff like that. So I kind of grew up thinking that obsidian sounded kind of badass as a gamer. And eventually, when the time came to start like my whole career as an artist, I was afraid that me being from Colombia would become a factor in people wanting to work with me or not. It's sad, but my country does have a certain reputation.
A stigma.
Yeah, let's call it that. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want that to be a factor. I'm not ashamed of being from Colombia. I'm not proud either. I don't believe in patriotism or anything like that. But I just didn't want it to be a factor. So I decided, hey, why don't we just go for a pseudonym? I don't even like my real name. Mm-hmm. It's Sergio. Come on, that is for sexy shirtless saxophone players on.
There's a John Hamm Saturday Night Live sketch of Sergio.
Yeah,
it's a classic.
It's awesome, but it's not me.
It's not you. No.
So I said, I'll just use a pseudonym, and I went with the pseudonym that I used as my role-playing game name. And my first clients, which were actually from Texas, I would have my kind of discussions with them on a forum, and just to kind of shorten it up, they would say, "Oh." So that kind of stuck, and
oh wait, is this Dim and Wit?
No, they were actually my second clients.
Okay.
These are the people that actually referred me to Dim and Wit.
Okay.
They're still, I suppose, they're still close friends. I shouldn't have said that. Who knows? Maybe they fought, and now I'm just like.
It could have been a knife fight. There could have been a murder. We don't know. But you know what? We could find out. We are going to Texas in a month.
Yeah. So that's where my name Obsidian comes from. The abnormal part of it is because my first website was called the Ministry of Abnormality. Unfortunately, the guy that sold me that domain name turned out to be a con artist. So I lost that domain later on. Never been able to get it back. I've always wanted it back. The Ministry of Abnormality. And so yeah, that's when the time came to give my character in the webcomic a last name. I wasn't going to give him my last name. It wasn't going to be O Vija, which is my last name. Actually, it's Vija Isasa. So
yeah.
So I just said, I'll give him something that has to do with the website I had. So I named him Abnormal, and that's where my name comes from, or Abnormal. And right now, I only go by O Abnormal. I introduce myself to my students at the university as O.
Oh, okay.
I normally tell people that I do not like it. That is a name for my mother to use. And she does.
No, I've known you for 5 years now. I can't, and I know your real name. I have to think about it from time to time. Like if I'm buying you an airline ticket or getting your visa stuff helped out with or that shit, but I don't generally think of you as anything other than O.
Well, people ask me sometimes why I don't actually change my name, And I just tell them because that would make my life at the bank very difficult. You know, it's I have a bank name, I have a name I use at the airport, and I have a name I just the one I call myself.
I'd actually love to see you try to sign checks with your signature.
Yeah, well, I do have an actual Sergio Villa y Sasa signature. So.
Okay. Because your signature is O is just a circle with a dot in it.
Oh, that's what the letter O is?
Yeah. Well, no, that's a tit. It's a very badly drawn tit, but it's a tit.
It's, well, yeah, we can also go for I, but I prefer tits to eyes.
Yeah.
But then again, if we didn't have eyes, we couldn't see the tit, so.
It's a great age test when people look at the table. Like, you could tell how far along they are in puberty when they point at it and say, is that an eye? Or why is there a tit there?
Wow. I'd probably go for tits, so what does that say about my age?
You're over the age of 13.
There you go.
Yes.
I was just about to say, because I'm willing to guess you would say tit as well, and I'm going to go ahead and guess that Danielle would probably go with tit.
With the little O thing?
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. They make a lot of supposedly inappropriate jokes, like innuendos, that I don't actually intend. I seem to have to try to make them. So actually, when I see that O, I just go, oh, what? Did somebody accidentally splurt ink in the middle perfectly in the center? Weird. Huh.
Well, that's another way to see it, yeah.
Okay, Danielle, what are you doing right now?
I'm trying to... Oh, yeah, I guess it's kind of off the...
No, I can see it. It's just... Oh, by the way, there's edges to your... It's more than a square when people are tuning in and watching it.
Oh, okay, thank you. I know nothing of Hangouts, clearly. I've got a Pentel pocket brush that I'm trying to revive.
Oh, you're just trying to get some life back into it, okay.
Not even into, or back into, but into. I just opened this one up. I feel like all the rest of my pens are a little bit rough, so I want to start with a new one.
All right, so that's like that should be getting black ink out.
You know, here's the funny thing. I bet somebody watching is like, that's not how you do it. Because I have no idea how to do this. I just like kind of tap it until the ink comes down.
Okay.
I'm assuming it'll come down eventually, and then
I try to keep an eye on this, and whenever I see an art technique that I don't know, I like to ask the dumb question. So okay. So you're trying to get your pen working. So let's look back over it out here. We have a +2 question at this point.
Oh.
It's like I'm just thinking that these are like role-playing questions. By the way, really quick side note, I wanted to point out. When you're talking about the fact that you're Obsidian after The Rock, we technically were doubling back on Game of Thrones again. Because Obsidian weaponry is actually very important to that storyline. Okay, the question comes from a Miss Shannon Randall. She said, I noticed lately in webcomics the characters aren't always drawn perfectly in each panel. Hair or some other feature will be slightly different. So would you say that imperfection is okay? I have trouble trying to draw everything perfectly.
Is that directed to somebody specifically?
I don't know which comic we're talking about. Like, which one of us is at fault for not being perfect every panel? I know we're finicky about it. Like,
that's why I'm wondering, because
if we catch something, like there are certain levels of things that if we get wrong, we fix it. Like if we forget Elf's tattoo, we'll go back and put that one on. Wear Tiger's spots when he's in his feral form, or I mean stripes, not spots. Princess Glitter Sparkle's spots. Yeah, she has ladybug wings, so we need to make sure she has her spots correct each time. But then also, like, some of it, like there's a certain level of detail that you don't need in every panel, I think. There's a difference between the level that Rob Liefeld cares about and an actual comic book artist cares about.
Well, I'm normally very detail-oriented, but it's just because it's what I enjoy. So it even makes me take a little bit longer on what I do and all that kind of stuff, but I just love it. So, it's kind of my burden to bear. Now, if the question was for us, or if it was for Danielle, or I don't know, but whoever it's for, it's I'd say there has to be a continuity in terms of, like, if your character is missing an eye in one panel and then in the other one he has it, well, that might lead to some awkward questions.
Slightly different. Like the hair would be just different, or the. Yeah. And honestly, with either one of you, given that given that you guys are the comics that I tend to read more obsessively than others, I don't think either one of you actually count as guilty in this respect.
You know, I mean, I'll admit that I do. Maybe it was just aimed to me. I have no idea. Like, occasionally there will be a thing or two. Having a colorist is nice because it is a second set of eyes. Mm-hmm. And I've actually had, Jackie has definitely gotten back to me and said, or actually called Leilu, that's what she goes by, has definitely gotten back to me and said, oh, you forgot the, Jamie's earrings in panel 4, so I just went ahead and, drew them, or whatever, little things like that. But if you can reread that question, didn't she say something like, when a hair is out of place, or something really, really,
hair or some other feature will be slightly different.
Well, yeah, I think it's just because we, do that? I don't know.
I kind of recognize her name. I think she has her own webcomic, and or is at least an artist. I think what she's saying is, as an artist, should you obsess about doing everything perfectly?
I think as an artist, you should just obsess over whatever you want to obsess. I do have certain rules. There are, because I don't like my character designs to be symmetrical. So there's differences to each side of each character and stuff like that. Right now, Word Tiger, Elf, they're non-symmetrical characters, so they are probably the designs I like the most in the comic right now. And so you have
saying Were Tiger, and you're talking about losing an eye, and he managed to keep his eye for an entire book.
Yeah, but no, but not even that. Just the simple fact that he has a bow, it's a non-symmetrical design because that just goes on one side. Elf, on the other hand, is the most non-symmetrical character, and he is my favorite in terms of design. But just obsess over whatever you want to obsess, because that's where I get my fun. I like to obsess over details and stuff like that, and if I can't, I'm not a minimalist artist, and if I was forced to be minimalist, I probably wouldn't have as much fun doing what I do. So, on the other hand, there's always going to be differences between the two images, because, between one panel and the next, because you have to draw one and then draw the other, and there's just no way you're going to draw them exactly the same, unless you're copy-pasting, in which case we're done here, and I'm not talking to you anymore.
There is, I guess maybe this will answer the question too, or since we don't know exactly what she's asking. I remember looking through, because I felt this way when I was looking through just regular Funny Pages comics when I was younger, and I grew up on comic strips. I never really read comic books, where there would be Blondie or Garfield or something like that, and there'd be one little area that was colored in the last panel, and this panel is just blank, they just forgot. And I would obsess over it. I'd be like, does this mean something? This must be something that I just don't quite, maybe I'm not old enough to understand why that little area is white instead of colored. And, now I'm at this age when, my colorist writes to me and is like, oh, you forgot our earrings again. I'm like, oh, it's because we're human and we just make mistakes. It's much easier to catch when you've got an editor, but, or a second set of eyes in you guys' case. But if you're kind of doing it on your own and then an idiot like me doing it that night, you're just going to have some mistakes once in a while.
Well, I suppose this also happens to you. Every now and then, I'll be looking at an old page, and suddenly I'll look wait, that's not his ear, and it's precisely because of the colorist. Sometimes they misinterpret what.
Yeah.
And you don't catch it because you don't catch it. You
need some distance from it. Your brain is filling in what it should be seeing when you're looking at it fresh, but when you're looking at it old, then your brain is actually reprocessing that image.
Yeah, so every now and then that happens to me. I'll have to turn over to the colorist and say hey, that's not a piece of cloth, or that's not that character, and it's not your fault, but it's not that.
So I think the important takeaway here is your brain is a goddamn liar.
Actually, in the class I teach, learning to manipulate the brain is I teach that is an essential part of illustration, learning to manipulate the brain.
Yeah, technically. I mean, that's like perspective and fake action in a still image. Yeah, I could work on all of that. Unless I'm just totally talking out of my ass, but you know.
Well, I don't know. You could be, but you're even a broken clock gives the time right twice a day. So I'm not calling you a broken clock. No, but it is that. It is that, and it's also color, and it's also layouts and composition and focal points and all that kind of stuff, and that is just manipulating the brain. So, we are, as illustrators, we're constantly tricking people into an emotional response, and that's, I don't know, I think that's a lot of fun.
Okay. I guess I'm just going to let whenever a question gets to +2 or better signify when I change questions here. Okay, so the next question is Danielle, who do you have lined up for your guest comics while you're away, and is O going to be one?
Oh, man. I just met O tonight, and actually not really, because it's just over video.
Technically, you met him a couple years ago at Comic-Con.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah.
In 2010.
You know what? It feels really weird every time I make the exclamation "Oh," because you're listening and I'm basically calling your name every time.
You probably call my name in bed too.
Let me answer partially on part of this real quick.
Did not know.
O won't actually be available for a guest comic this time out just because of some scheduling stuff that we have to do with Bone Breakers coming out.
Very good.
Yes.
I have 3 of the 6 artists already lined up, and I have a couple of other people that I'd like, but I just have not had a chance to email all of them yet.
Mm-hmm. Is there anybody that you want to tease and say you got coming lined up?
You know what? I was pretty open about one of them at Emerald City. I would say that anybody who came by my booth and anybody who knows who I was sitting with, just the fact that I would put my thumb behind me and point at that certain person might give a little hint or two.
Guessing it involved a beard?
What's a beard, maybe?
A beard? Yeah.
Not in the comic, but...
No, well, the creator in question had a beard, I think.
He still draws by hand, so, I mean, there might be some beard hairs scanned in with the...
Good.
You never know.
Yes.
But that one I'm actually quite excited about. And then, actually, God, the other 2 I'm really excited about, too. So far, it's an all-star lineup, as far as I'm concerned. I am really excited to see what they're going to be doing for me.
And I will also say, if you go through Danielle's guest comics archives, I think you have that on your site, you will find a guest comic from O from 2 years ago, and you'll find a guest comic from me, and I think that was, I want to say 5 years ago, something like that.
If not longer, it seems like that was forever ago.
That was when I was still doing a comic called Dear Pirate, which was a claymation advice webcomic. I had started that one after I'd met you, because I met you just about 10 years ago, actually.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, it was the SPX. You were walking around with your portfolio and business cards, and you were promoting this comic that you were about ready, or you just launched it, called Girls with Slim Shadows.
That was the weekend. Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, and you were showing your portfolio off to all these different not studios, it was SPX.
Yeah.
So your other creators, and I think you were sort of trying to scurry up some work at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I know after I saw your portfolio, I went through and I put together this giant pitch of a comic that he'd be perfect to draw. This Girls with Slingshots thing, it's not going to work out. Just do this comic instead, because you need a writer. And I'm talking out of my ass because I know that you didn't need a writer at that point. It was of all the portfolios I had seen at that point in my career, which admittedly is only a year old at that point, but I'd seen a bunch of portfolios, and because I was always trying to find artists to work with. And yours actually had storytelling and expression and characters and good writing. So I was trying to get you to work with me on that project, and it failed miserably.
Wait, did you actually talk to me about it? I'm sorry, I have a terrible memory. Really?
Oh, yeah. I found it was all through email afterwards, after the show, and you very politely said, this does sound interesting, but you know what? I think I'm going to try just doing my own comic for a while and just see how that works out first.
Oh, good job, 23-year-old Danielle. Good job.
Yes, I think you made the right choice because that project is actually one of my secret projects that I have that has remained cursed to this day. This project is like some monkey paw shit on it. Like, every single time I've lined up an artist and we've started working, something horrible has happened to that artist.
Oh, I'm really glad I didn't say yes.
Like, it fucking 3 times now. We've had a grandparent die.
Oh, God.
We have had, like, somebody held on to it for a year. In that process, she lost her job, her boyfriend broke up with her, her father died.
God.
And then her health just at that point finally took a digger. And then she finally let go of it, and then her life got better. And then the third artist to take it, he ended up, like, going near suicidal.
Jesus.
And I'm like, dude, no, just don't touch. Like, I honestly don't know if I want to pitch that project to anybody anymore at this point.
No, unless you really don't like the artist and you want them to die, then, I say go for it.
No.
Oh, please don't say that you don't want anybody to die.
Well,
wanting people to die is part of being alive.
but do I want to work with somebody? Because like I said, it's a monkey paw type thing, and like everybody thinks that they can control the monkey's paw, but when they try to use it, that's when it bites them. Like once I try to use it as a weapon, it's going to hit me.
Well, you see, the thing is, yes, witchcraft normally bounces back, but you just have to figure out who do you hate enough that you're willing to pay the price.
My own death?
Well, you don't necessarily have to die.
Let's face it, karmatically, there's a good chance someone did wish death on me in the beginning of this year. I got close.
Good point.
Okay, we have a +1 question. But you know what? We're going to let it level up.
Let's go for it because you're already talking about your operation again. So let's go for it.
Yeah, I'm going right for the question. Like, screw the fact that this one actually works really well for you guys at the moment. I was wondering how much digital versus traditional means for your guys' work and why.
Oh, man.
Because I think we have, like, it's not really the two extremes here.
No, not at all.
No.
Yeah. I'll let Danielle go first with this one. I'll pick it up as soon as she's done.
Because you'd have to be doing like vector-based stuff for it to be really that different. For me, it really is just the tactile experience of having paper and pen. Although right now I'm realizing I'm looking really closely and I'm like, this thing is really bleeding. This is terrible. But this is why I'm working so big. I mean, this is going to be the end size is a lot smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really matter too much. But I don't know why. I just much prefer to work on paper. It's more just the experience. It has very little to do with anything else, with the way that the artwork actually is going to end up in the end. I mean, I've played with the Cintiq before. I have one sitting in my desk or in my office. I just haven't got a chance to set it up yet. But once I do, like, I'm worried about doing inks on it because I think that I'll get addicted to the fact that I can just Control-Z everything. And like, I don't know, I like having this experience of being away from the computer. Whenever I'm on a computer, I feel like it's work. This feels like play. I'm actually in my bedroom right now. I moved. The studio has always been in the same place in my house, but I moved my bed back into this room because my two favorite things are drawing and sleeping, so I figured I'd just put them in the same room. And it's actually been really nice. I'll wake up and the first thing I see is like there's 2 windows on either side of this drawing board, and my drawing board is in the center, ready to go. I can start working whenever, and it's inspiring for me. It used to be like, oh, I have to go into that room that has like my drawing board and my computer. And after a couple of years, I realized that having my computer in the same room even is stressful enough. I have my laptop sitting here, but it's generally closed and underneath the drawing board. So it's just kind of a nice, I don't know, it's my preference. I'm also one of these weirdos who would, not weirdos, this seems normal to me, weird cartoonists who would like to be outside more than being indoors. And I feel like most of my creative friends would much prefer to be like in front of a computer, in the darkness. I have like no curtains on my windows. I don't know. I just kind of
being your neighbor.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe I shouldn't share that information. But it's just kind of nice to feel like I'm outdoors and sit right here and not have to be in front of a screen. Oh, and also, I'm sorry, there's also original artwork afterwards, which I sell for enough that it makes it worth it every time that I draw on larger paper like this. So, yeah. You're a reason O for. Have you always worked?
No. To me, it's not a complicated question. It's a matter of to me, digital art is just another technique. I normally I teach digital art at a university and post grad or whatever you call it in English, and I normally try to teach my students, look, it's just another technique. It's like you learn watercolor, you learn pastels, you learn pencils, and you can learn Photoshop. It's just another technique. And digital art is not going to do for you anything that you couldn't do already. So to me, it's just a matter of it's the technique that seems to be more convenient for what I need to do, and that's it. Like if yes, the Cintiq is an expensive piece of equipment, so you kind of feel an obligation to work on it because, like, it's paid for. So if you don't work on it, that's quite a bit of money that you just wasted. But I do have to say, if I thought that it would be like if it's making my life more difficult, if I thought that I would get better results just working on paper or stuff like that, I'd just go back to it. It's just a technique. On the other hand, I have spent most of my artistic career trying to almost specialize on making sure that Photoshop feels very loose and very organic, and I absolutely hate that digital kind of feel that some art has, that it kind of feels just too polished or too perfect and too clean. Like I hate vector art, for example, that Danielle mentioned before. I don't like vector art or anything like that. So yeah, it's just a matter of it works for me, so I use it, and if something else worked better, I'd use that. So that's pretty much it for me. Like I don't have a single nostalgic bone in my body, so. Like like I get a lot of students that tell me all the time, like I just like the feel of paper. Like what, I like the feel of boobs. So that's it. Like I love being an artist, but if we're talking about what I like feeling, there's some other stuff I like feeling more. So yeah. I'm betting a lot of people would agree with me. Boobs are awesome. So.
I think that's pretty much universal.
I know. I like to think that there is somebody out there that just thinks, like, ew, like, what the fuck? Like, what is this?
As someone who has a large-breasted character who is beloved by so many people, I have finally had one or two people who've been like, no, you know what, never mind, it was one. It was one single person. God only knows what's wrong with this person, saying, I just couldn't care less about boobs. I don't understand what the big deal is.
Oh, no, well, even then, like, my taste in boobs is not your average taste in boobs.
It's not size-based.
Yeah, like I like them all, and if you ask me like what size I prefer, I call them athletic boobs. That is my boob of preference.
They have their own biceps.
I think this is actually like one of the key secrets of dudes, that like if I could ever get this through to any girl that's feeling self-conscious about her body, it's that dudes, they may have a preferred size, but boobs in general are always like 2 thumbs up. Doesn't matter size, shape, color, no.
Yeah, I've never, like, I've watched a lot of porn in my life. Like, holy crap. I've seen a lot of porn, and never, not even once, watching porn, have I said, like, fuck, another boob? Oh, come on.
So
I've seen
guess,
those before.
So to bring it back to the question, what does digital porn mean to you versus traditional porn?
As in, like, 3D generated porn?
No, I'm thinking like that was actually something.
There is that, and I don't enjoy it. I gotta say.
I just had to move recently, so I'm packing up all my belongings. And one of the last things I suddenly have to pack up, because I have some friends that are going to help me finish cleaning up my house and packing things up. And so I had shipped out a lot of stuff, I had thrown out a lot of stuff, and I'm doing one last sweep through the house, thinking, okay, they can take this to the dump, they can take this and sell it, I can throw this in the van, and suddenly I find a shoebox full of porn.
Wow, that must have been ancient.
And I'm like, this is back from when I was a teenager.
Whoa.
And I'm looking at this shoebox, and like, first off, there's some nostalgia there, and second off, I'm like, oh god, there's no fucking way I'm letting my friends find my shoebox full of porn, and I've already done my last trip to the dump, so like, this has to go in the van. It had to go in the van with me, so I took my porn on a road trip.
Wow, that must have brought you together.
And it was like I knew it was there the whole time. Like, hey, porn, how you doing back there? You know, just.
Well, didn't you have like some sort of very sentimental burning of porn in the desert or something?
Well,
like
when I got
an era.
Okay, I shit you not. When I actually drove through the desert, and by the way, Danielle, think of this as a nice anecdote. Spend as little time in Arizona as possible.
Oh god, I'm spending like 3 days out there.
And I'm sorry, I know we have fans in Arizona, and I love you fans, but your state is evil. Because when I drove through Arizona, I got stuck in a 20-mile wide dust storm. It was blowing 50-mile-an-hour to 80-mile-an-hour winds straight up against the side of my car, and it was like bouncing these little tumbleweeds across it. I'm like, well, that's kind of adorable, because these tumbleweeds, they like weigh a couple ounces, and they just bounce right off, no big deal. And I'm just like calmly driving through it as if it's like a rainstorm, like I'm not even thinking about it, and then all of a sudden I'm just driving along, and then wham! This like 10-pound tumbleweed just like scrapes across my windshield, and I'm like, okay, fuck you, I respect you, I totally respect you, dust storm. By the way, apparently the people that I have helping clean up my house right now are sending me messages, because they're apparently listening in, and they're thanking me for not leaving the shoebox full of porn. Yes, because I think they still want to look me in the eye and not know just exactly what worked for me, especially like 19-year-old me. Like, there's some things that you don't want to know. Like, the technology has given us so many gifts lately. Like, we never are going to have that moment where you loan somebody a VHS tape of porn and it's accidentally left at a certain point inside the porn. I don't know if you guys have ever had that experience before.
Wait.
No.
Inside the porn.
Okay, well, VHS tapes, you had to rewind them when you were done, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah, I know this.
Okay, so, but say you forgot to rewind it, and you pop the VHS tape in, and it's like a friend's porno tape, not like their personal porno tape, but like we like in college, I had, very early on, we did this through our newspaper, actually, where we did porn trading days, and we would like swap VHS tapes. The one thing you never want to know...
I'm imagining like in a movie, like outside on the lawn in front of the building, like with a huge banner that says Porn Trading Day, and you're just like raising funds for something.
Yes. So you swap VHS tapes, and like the last thing you want to do is pop that VHS tape in, hit play, and see that scene.
I think this is a big difference between women and men with porn. I have a feeling, because I'm like, wait, wouldn't you just watch it to the end, right? I mean, don't you want to find out what happens after the pizza's delivered? Come on.
Well, and if it was the pizza delivery, like if it's something like that, like if that's where the scene is, like.
I'm guessing. I'm just guessing here, but I'm pretty sure it involves semen and faces.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's going to be my guess.
What if it doesn't, you know?
It's not that. It's the thing is, like, I wouldn't stop it. Like, there's no place where I would stop it, because I'd go all the way through, watch the entire thing to its entirety.
Men, when they watch porn, men, when they watch porn, they don't use an ellipsis, they use an exclamation point.
I forgot that there's like a difference between, first of all, this is a film that's being used for, like, there's a utility to it.
Yes.
Sort of like watching the end.
It's very specific, goal-oriented entertainment.
Yeah, porn for men is very, at least for this guy, as in me, it's very practical. Like, I just look up what I'm into, like, I go to some site, see like what options they're offering me. This looks good. Do what I need to do. Out. That's it. That's my porn process.
Yeah. It's very goal-oriented. We're on a destination, and that destination is not tell me a story. Yeah. Now, to be fair, on the flip side, I will read porn comics, right? And I have caught myself trying to read one of those for just the satisfaction factor, and then getting so hooked on the story that I like forget that I'm masturbating, and I'm just reading through for the story.
See, that's how I would attach or approach pretty much any porn. I actually don't watch porn. I'm like weirdly, people expect me to like just be consuming it constantly. For Smut Peddler, I finally had to look up porn. I had no idea what was on the internet. Like, there's a lot of fisting, for starters. I had no idea. But at the same time, like, I do have a couple, like, VHS tapes, actually. Because I got excited about the fact that there's an old porn store selling VHS tapes, because obviously they're not selling those anymore.
You actually have a working VCR, too.
Oh, yeah. It's right next to my working Nintendo that I got in first grade for getting straight O's on my report card. Yes, I don't know. I watched them all the way through because I'm like, oh, what happens at the end? Like, I want to know. It's fascinating.
Also, we have our first cat sighting as
Smudge came along.
Smudge is checking out your work.
Now she's just got her back to me.
Oh, we should check on your end. Since your cats don't actually get to jump on camera, how many of them are harassing you tonight?
Oh.
Well, Pixie is always sitting next to me. Right, Pixie? And she's right there. She's taking a bath. She's within arm's reach. She always is. Golem could be anywhere since he's pitch black, and he's probably outside in the garden, and I'm probably not going to be able to see him since it's nighttime. Juki is on top of the library where she always is, and Raijin is probably in hiding.
Holy cow, you got a lot of cats, yo.
He is a cat lady, yes.
Nice.
I have 4 of them.
And just so we're getting the full cast established, Shadow is... I rolled out a mattress for her in the office, and she is passed the fuck out right now. She's very calm, very happy. She's been having a rough time. This is, I think, the 7th move that we've put her through at this point. She's an old cat. Yeah. I had her when I used to live in California, before I moved to Maryland and moved around there. So now that she's back in California, she's shedding a lot. Yeah.
Moving, like, I don't give a fuck about moving, but my cats, it just kind of, I'm almost afraid of moving because of my cats. It's just
the
so
stress
bad.
that they go under.
Oh yeah, it's so horrible on them. Like the apartment I'm in right now, like I would gladly just stay here forever if it means that they don't have to go through what they have to go through last time, because it's just it's really bad. And I do let my cats control my life. I don't care.
Just for the audience, we have 28 minutes left on the battle clock. A reminder that you guys can ask us questions through the Q&A feature on Google+, because clearly we are covering the entirety of the internet, since we've already hit porn and cats.
They don't mix very well, by the way.
No. And there's amazingly a very small amount of cat porn on the internet. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. I am just saying that as a guess. I have not actually searched that one out.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, I'm not sure that's true. Like,
am I adding something to my to-do list? Yes, I'm adding something to my to-do list right now.
Like,
Find
I've
out
never
how much
seen
cat porn there is.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but if I had to guess, I probably guess that it's out there.
I hope it's at least cat on cat. But also don't hope, because that sounds terrible too.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just...
I've heard what they do to each other.
How about we don't think about that?
It's a good
Don't
idea.
think about cats phoning. Okay.
Let's steer this in a different direction.
I'm okay with that because my cat actually, she got fixed before she even ever went into heat. So she's been in permanent kitten mode for like, 14 years now.
Oh.
Yeah, she's adorable. Yeah. Okay, so right now what we got is Danielle. You seem to be you're doing the sweep of getting the pencils off.
Yeah.
Cleaning things up, and then you're just kind of adding some texture to a stump.
I'm doing the first shading pass.
Okay.
Kind of modeling in the volumes, and I'll be moving on to cast shadows after this. This is my favorite part anyway, so.
You can tell. This is really nice, dude.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the part I like the most is the lighting. So, it's kind of... I already know that I'm probably not going to finish this image today because it's a promo image, so I'm not gonna rush this. So I'm just working along. I predict that by the end of the show, I'll have the shading mostly done and first layer of lighting. And I'll consider myself well served.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't even know if you use that expression in English, but we do in Spanish.
Well served.
Nice.
Yeah, bien servido.
I'm trying to think if there's a English colloquial analog, and my brain is telling me I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. I would like to give a fuck, but my brain just doesn't want to right now. Yes. Let's see.
It's probably 11 p.m. for Danielle, and it's 10 p.m. for me, so you're getting no sympathy here.
Yes.
Yeah, like you with your 7 p.m.
No, 8 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How do you manage?
Yeah. 8 p.m. I got a little bit of sunshine today. It got up to around, actually got up to about like 88 degrees outside.
Ah, nice.
So yeah, and my office is very well, it was very well lit when I sat down, and then the sun set on me, so I was sitting in the dark for a little bit. I do want to talk to Danielle really quickly about something that she's planning at the moment, because I'm honestly very, very fucking jealous of your planned road trip that you're doing. Like, and this is something that you've been working on for at least a year, I think?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, at this point, are you, like, terrified of this, or are you just going to know about it?
A little bit of everything. It's one of these, like, I constantly think that I can just take on as much as possible, and I've forgotten for so long that I really do put a lot of time and effort into Girls with Slingshots. It may seem like I don't, I'm not entirely sure. Like, I feel like it doesn't, the quality of the strip doesn't come off as, like, labor-intensive as, I don't know, it doesn't come off as if it is labor-intensive. But it does take a really long time. I spent a lot of time writing and thinking about the strip and, like, researching quite a bit. I actually went through a trailer park today just to get an idea for the next comic strip. Spoiler alert.
The wedding coming up, right?
Yeah, you got it. So I keep thinking that I can just take on whatever, and after watching actually that strip documentary, I was thinking, God, it really would be nice to have a syndicate take care of all this shit, but like syndicate wouldn't take care of like planning out a cross-country road trip that I'm going on because I want to go on it. But goddamn, it'd be nice to have somebody else do this. So I'm hoping that I'm not biting off more than I can chew. But then again, everything's kind of fallen into place too. I've got, I called out for venue ideas for all of the signings. I literally only have 2 places lined up so far. I have 19 others that are waiting, or ready to go. I just need to contact them and make decisions and make arrangements and everything. But it's it is falling into place. I have 3 or 4 different assistants who are coming with me. We just decided on a 4th today. I think it's going to work. I just think that there's going to be something massive I'm going to forget. Like, I don't know, like all the books. I don't know. I just recently did a little check on inventory, kind of an estimated guess as to how much inventory I have to bring along because Topatico has most of my books. And I'm thinking, like, how am I going to ship everything? It just occurred to me today that I should probably get an account with National Bank so that I can deposit cash along the way, so I'm not carrying, lots of money with me. So, I mean, I'm excited because nothing could go so wrong that I'm going to die, most likely, or if it did, like, it could have happened anywhere. But at the same time, like, yeah, I'm excited for it.
There was a part of me when I was doing my whole move cross country, I was like, well, technically I could do like a 4-night, just do 4 different signings and keep on the road. Ultimately, I think I wisely chose not to do that because I'm in a slightly different situation in that I had to cover so much ground each day.
Oh, I'm sure.
Your jumps seem to be in like 2 hours driving and then a show, and you're also smartly putting some days in between. Yeah,
luckily, it's actually unfortunately a lot more than that. It's going to be. I'm looking at I actually have a map up on the right side of the wall. I'd say an average of 6 hours driving every day, and some of them.
Oh, well, that's still
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously way better than what you were doing. Like, that's got to be really.
Yeah, I was doing 12 hours a day.
Oh, jeez. I can't imagine. Unfortunately, my other issue is that I do get sore pretty quickly, so I'm worried that, like, I don't know. I feel like I should just buy a, like, deluxe style seat and replace the one that I have in my car. Like, I'm almost considering, can I make that one of my rewards or something like that on Kickstarter, like incentives, buy Danielle a new seat
stretch
for
goal.
Car. Yeah, stretch goal. Mm-hmm. That would be nice. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, there are going to be a few days stopping as well. It's going to be about 9,200 miles altogether, all round trip, which is actually less than I thought it'd be. So.
That's right, because you're zigzagging up and down the country.
Yeah, the majority of this is for the Midwest because they've been asking me to come out for so long, and I do not want to go to Detroit, and there are a lot of other places in the Midwest I don't want to go, so I figured I'll just do it all in a week, and that way the pain will be over. But the people will be worth it. I mean, the people have been so responsive. They've all been asking me to come out to those areas for so long. I just feel like I don't owe it to them, but it sure would be nice. Maybe I do owe it to them. Mm-hmm. You know?
Speaking of owing and travel, our next +2 question, do any of you guys plan to visit Europe in the near future, in the next 2 to 3 years? That it would be a blast to see you in Europe sometime.
Nice. I was actually just, I'm really grateful for this, just invited to do Thought Bubble out in UK.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I'm going to be out there. One of my best friends lives in Denmark, so I may actually try to make... I think it'd be ridiculous to come out there for a weekend. So I may just go down and see her afterwards, and if so, I'll probably have leftover stuff from Thought Bubble. So if I can, I'd like to arrange kind of just a signing, little meet and greet kind of thing.
Yeah, O is currently a wanted criminal in the UK. So, well, not necessarily, but we have... I think we've at this point committed treason against the UK.
Yeah, we're not. I'm not well received in the UK.
No. We were guests at London Comic Con 2 years ago, and they rejected O's visa.
Oh,
yeah. Not the convention.
Not the convention.
Yeah.
London, like England, rejected O's visa.
The Queen herself.
The Queen herself has a vendetta against O. So we have said some less than polite things about England at this point. So I don't know if O is necessarily getting back ever into that country. And by getting back, I mean ever going into that country.
Yeah.
So for us, I think. There is a show that we sort of wistfully look at in the distance called, it's in Luca. I don't think it's called Luca. It might be the Luca Comics.
I thought it was called Luca.
It is called Luca. Yeah.
No, that's the.
No, I think it is called Luca, but that's in Italy, and it's this old, like, ancient city of Italy that's like walled off, so you're like all these, and like a lot of it takes place outside in this beautiful Mediterranean climate, and the cosplayers walking around castle walls and that type of stuff. That show is, I think, our next international target. It's either that or we do keep an eye on Spiel in Germany, because eventually, like, if we get our board game side of our company firing a little harder, then we can justify going to Spiel. And then the third one on that list is the masochist in me. I someday would love to do Angoulême in France.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, those are all. Right now, I think Luca is our best bet, and I think Luca in 2 years is our best bet.
Nice.
For O and I.
That sounds great.
Besides, Colombia is not going to need a visa for Europe.
Right.
So that should be like in full effect in about. I'm not sure when, but in about 2 years, it might not be a problem for me to go to Europe. Unfortunately, fuck England. England is not included in that because England does not handle the same.
They are not fully members of the European Union. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't handle the same visa that the rest of Europe does. So.
Yeah. So we've encountered some problems. Like at one point, Worldcon this August is actually going to be in London. We were in talks with LondCon for a little bit there, and we really wanted to do that show. It is the same weekend as Gen Con back in the States, but at the same time, like, it's really hard to turn down an invite from LondCon, but the package that we were offered as guests wasn't quite enough for us to financially jump over to London. And at the same time, like, we still are having the visa problems for O. So.
Oh, by the way, like, if you, listener, are in England, I have nothing against you.
No.
But maybe you should write your government and say, what do you have against Colombian bald men?
Yeah, we have nothing against our listeners in London or England, nothing against our listeners in Arizona. And our listeners in Arizona, if you'd like to write a letter to Arizona's weather, please do. Yes.
But then again, I mean, Danielle did just say that she hated the Midwest.
Oh, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't hate the Midwest, but I definitely lived in Ohio for a summer and was appalled by. I had no idea that racism or homophobia existed before that. But I also grew up in a bubble, so you know.
No. I'm just like, if we're going down, we're taking you with us.
We've done shows in Ohio. We did last year. We did Origins. The year before that, we did MarsCon. My honest opinion of Ohio is nobody lives there by choice. Especially Columbus, Ohio. Columbus, Ohio is a fucking labyrinth.
That's funny. I actually like Columbus.
I actually do too.
If you drive around Columbus, you will get trapped there, and you will eventually give up and just decide, well, we live here now.
Oh, is that how that happens then?
That's how people live in Columbus.
That's the funny thing. Like, I was in Ohio, and my sister, she lives in Ohio. So Cleveland, boring. Columbus, pretty but boring. Cincinnati, I loved. I love Cincinnati. It was an awesome place.
I think I actually would like to give Cincinnati a shot.
Yeah, or it could also have something to do with, you know, the person that received me in Cincinnati was awesome. Yeah, Miss Cox.
I was actually going to guess it was Miss Cox, yes.
Yeah. But at the same time, like where my sister lives, and no disrespect to my sister, but the way I define the place where my sister lives is that's just where people go to die. That's just it. Like,
it's cool, Florida.
No, this is called oh shit, what is it called? Something that ends in stun. Like, you know, like
well, it's like Youngston or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, like Livingston or whatever stun. And you know
it's one of the bigger cities of Ohio, but it's just as exciting as the rest of Ohio. So now that we've taken our when is the next time we're going to be in Europe and turned it into let's bash Ohio, let's switch over to our +1 question. We'll level it up here and say how many of your characters are based on your real friends? Which one wants to take this first?
You go ahead.
All right. None. And the reason is that when I was in college, as so many cartoonists did, I used to do a comic for the specifically for the comic or for the I like to think it's just a comic paper for the newspaper, for the school newspaper. and it was completely 100% based off of my friends with their names and likenesses, and most of them were people I dated and then broke up with, and that was just a bad idea for me to do that. So.
It sounds like a really bad idea.
Yeah, I learned real quick not to do that. I do have a few characters, like Angel in my book, or in my strip, is vaguely based off of my favorite bartender from from the Mech. But I think anybody who even vaguely resembles another person, an actual living person, those people know that if I take their character, it's going to go somewhere else completely, and it's not going to be them anymore after a while.
Yeah,
so it's also
visual plus sometimes a hint of their name.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a few people who are just, have been muses for me for face shapes or whatever else, but I leave it at that.
You realize that if we don't put a shout out to James,
I was going to say, that's
he
the next
will pout. Yes.
Yeah, he's got the face shape of Jameson, and Jameson was totally, I think, on not the first strip, but like the third or second or something like that.
No, he's first strip. I think he is first strip.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He is in the first strip. That was based on Jamie Hatton.
Yes. James Hatton is a mutual friend of all members of this current Sketchcast, actually. He does a webcomic called In His Likeness, and I believe he is trying to turn the month of April into James Hatton Awareness Month. Congratulations, James. This is the only mention of James Hatton Awareness Month that you will get on the Sketchcast.
But hey, success is still a success.
Mm-hmm. And then I would also like to clarify that you did not know me when you started the comics, so Dern the Transvestite is not based off of me. Yes.
Drag queen, by the way. Just drag queen.
Drag queen. Sorry. Yes.
That's okay.
Wow. When I started commissioned, it was all with my friends. So they're still there. Like Mate, Carlos, CJ, and myself.
And I'll put the asterisk up really quick for the English readers of his comic. The character that you think is called Beatty is actually called Bate.
Bate.
Oh.
Bate. Yeah.
It comes from a song that's called El Negrito del Bate, the Little Black Man of Bate. It's this a traditional song. It says, a mí me llaman el negrito del bate porque el trabajo para mí es el enemigo. It's racist as fuck, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't compose the song. It says, I'm called the Little Black Man of Bate because work for me is the enemy. So I apologize. It's not my song. But yeah, anyway, they're all real people. I only still speak to CJ. She lives in Australia now, however. She's actually going to come visit soon, but yeah, she's the only one I still talk to. I didn't fight with any of the others or anything like that. It's just life.
Yeah, I mean, this is 10 years of life.
Yeah, so...
And then let's actually point out some of the others. So, Sparrow is a fictional character, correct?
Sparrow is a fictional character. She's Bate's girlfriend, but she is based on what back in the day was Bate's taste in women.
Okay.
So there is that. Raven is actually just my taste in women, which is tall, glasses wearing. I'm a sucker for glasses, and mean to me. Which is kind of weird because my current girlfriend, and I say current girlfriend as I changed like every 3 days. I've been with her for like 5 years already. But my girlfriend is like the nicest person ever. But yeah, and well, Dern is also in the comic, but.
Well, yeah, but let's be honest. I would like to say that the Dern that is in your comic, like whenever, okay, I do partially write commissioned now, but whenever I've shown up in commissioned, I have never written myself.
Nice.
So it's this weird, bizarro version of me that O likes to put in. It is pure libel. That's all that is when I show up in commissioned. There's also, you do have an ex-girlfriend in there from earlier that we get asked about.
Yeah, that I hate talking about her because I hate her.
So
yeah.
If there's a character that randomly disappears when you're reading the archives of commissioned, take this as a life lesson that Danielle also seemed to have learned. Don't base characters off of people but don't make them directly off of those real people. Don't, like, that's one of the reasons why we're doing the Bone Breakers now instead of the adventures of O and Bate and Carlos. Is
because there's a limit to what you can do with other people, unless you're willing to just get into some. I suppose that can even become a legal issue.
A good example of this is Jenny Breeden, who does Devil's Panties. Every year, she gets all her friends and family members that show up in the script to sign a fresh release form. And if they don't sign a release, she stops using them in her comic strip. Because she keeps her stuff very autobiographical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I almost always like to clarify that Bate, Carlos, and CJ are based on real people, but just that they're just based. This is like I don't even know what their behaviors in life are now. They're all teachers. They're all design teachers, just as myself. So yeah, you know, I kind of am careful with that. But I think it's more interesting. The role-playing game characters, the 3 original ones, are also based on their role-playing game characters: Dwarf, Elf, and Word Tiger. Oh wait, we were forgetting Cousin Al, and I still talk to Cousin Al.
Who is actually your cousin?
Yeah, I'm drawing his character right now. This is
the most famous character of our.
Yeah, Word Tiger is his character. He is probably both Cousin Al and Word Tiger are probably the both best liked characters in the comic.
Well, no, Dern is the best liked character in the comic.
Trust
me, I did a very extensive poll on this. I asked myself.
And yeah, I just kind of I try not, you know, I give them their characters. I play around with a lot because these were the characters like in our game and all that, and they are very much the personality that they used to play and all that. But this is something that we've just kind of learned to deal with in the comic ever since like I worked with Dern, and it's like, okay, we got these characters, let's
I only know
them and all that. Yeah, ever since then they're all like,
yeah,
you know.
Like me personally, I only know the fictional versions of these characters, and so I've allowed them to have a certain, like, they've attached to me in a certain non-fictional way. So I allow them to exist as real, but not real characters. Like, I'm not really. Okay, there is one character in Bone Breakers that I base heavily off my own personality, and that's Princess Glitter Sparkle. So, that's where I get to put my little. It's not really a Mary Sue because, both of you guys are known for putting characters in that I think people could try to claim are Mary Sue's, but between the two of you, with your quote-unquote self-insert characters, you are some of the most miserable people to them.
Fair enough.
I just have a law, and it's you never make fun of people if you don't make fun of yourself. And Owen the comic is very much me. It's a lot of me in there, but I try to just. It's just a joke on me, so whatever.
By the way, a fan of ours, Evo, has pointed out that his character, when shown up in commissioned, is very true to life, and he reminds us that he is the cock block.
Yeah,
yes.
He is the cock block, and that he is. Yes, the cockblock Evo.
Yes. And, what show was that? Was that actually like a Dragon Con for you?
Cockblock was... Yes, I think it was a Dragon Con.
Yeah. So basically, yes, he's a fan that hanging out and completely stomped on O's game back when he was single. And now that we're both attached, we are very amused by the fact that we are the two dudes that go to Dragon Con to actively try to not get laid. Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Okay, we have 2 minutes and 50 seconds, 47 seconds left on the battle clock. Danielle has completely moved on from her promotional image. I've been meaning to like quietly like just point out to that. Can we cheat really quickly and take a look at the promo image?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I know like deadline is. Are you trying to get it up by midnight?
Yeah. Not by
okay.
midnight. Are you kidding?
Okay. Because yeah, that's actually tomorrow's comic. Are you gonna have to self-color on that one?
Yeah. I just decided tonight's gonna be a late night, and actually I need to extend this out a bit. So.
Okay. So at this point, how finished are you with the promotional image?
The parts that I wanted to get done are done. The lettering is just there for me to like look at later on. I might drop it in for the original, but I may not.
Okay.
I need to scan it in, and I have like tons of work to do on it still. I have to scan it in and do all the computer stuff that I don't like, and then.
Now, is this physical piece of paper going to be like one of the Kickstarter rewards?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Making sure artists know what to sell. Yeah. Sell the hell out of that. Okay.
Yeah, no kidding.
And let's take a peek in and see how Were Tiger's doing. He's getting some magic lasso action done to him right now. What's going on with Were Tiger,
Just rendering. I'm still missing a few light sources and stuff like that, but right now I'm just kind of adjusting volume here, making sure that everything is has the correct volume, the cast shadows, all that kind of stuff. It's stuff I love to do. So right now I'm kind of fiddling around with values and light sources and all that kind of stuff.
And I can't help but notice there very much definitely is a spoiler in this image, and I'm just not going to point it out.
There is, but I'll comment not on that, but on spoilers. When I was planning out the image, I had this argument with myself. Okay, is he going to be holding a bow and arrow, or is he going to be holding his throwing knives?
Yes, because it's a big moment in our first book when he switches weapons and becomes from incompetent to useful.
Yeah, so I eventually decided, okay, let's give him throwing knives. But I love details. I mentioned this before. I am a sucker for details. So I decided, you know what? I'm not going to keep it 100% spoiler free, and it does have a spoiler.
Yes, it does. All right. With that, the battle clock is at 0, and it's going to beep in my ear until I hit the stop. So let's stop that real quick. All right. Let's do a last round of shilling, and while we're doing this, you, the audience, if you have last-second questions that you want to throw at us, feel free to use the Q&A feature. I will check out the comments on the YouTube, since I totally forgot to do that the entire show. Looks like you're question-free there. People are using the Q&A correctly. Very good questions tonight, by the way, audience. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let's really quickly run down. I'm going to run down where each of the three of us will next be seen in the wild, and then we'll go to each of you guys and have you get your various shills in. And then if we have any questions that pop up, we'll answer them. But I think we might be good to go. I personally get to be the next one out in the wild. I'll be showing up at WonderCon in Anaheim, California. That will be April 18th, 19th, and 20th. I will also give a quick shout out that if you are on the East Coast and you can't make it out to WonderCon, I fully endorse AwesomeCon, which is also April 18th, 19th, and 20th, and it'll be in Washington, D.C. Danielle, your next convention appearance is at the Calgary Comics Expo. You will be showing up April 25th, 26th, and 27th. Don't look for her Thursday.
I had to go look for the calendar. Like, wait, is that right?
Yes,
it is.
And then, your next convention appearance will be at A-Kon in Dallas, Texas on June 6th, 7th, and 8th.
And I don't have to check because that's your job.
I will also be at A-Kon as well. In fact, fun fact for those that are longtime listeners of the Sketchcast, our previous guest, Finny Chang, actually, as we were signing off last night, she was saying, "Oh, I got to work on a cover image." She's actually designing the cover for the program for A-Kon, so you can see Finny and Dern at A-Kon.
Nice.
Yes. very excited about that show. Okay, we do have some last second questions. Oh, this one is for you. Where's the ninja?
Oh, he will be there, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna add him live.
I think we should point out that you did a step-by-step on how you put the images together. You skipped the step where you mentioned when the ninja gets put in. For those that want to know exactly how that sausage is made, you usually put that in after the colorist returns the image back to you, right?
Yeah, I basically because there's actually a technical reason, not just the fact that I don't want the colorist to see.
Yeah.
But that is also part of it. No, the technical reason is because with speech bubbles and all that, focal points on an image can get messed up a bit. You know, sometimes the speech bubbles are going to call very special attention to a certain part or something like that. So I normally add the ninja at the very end, unless the image is very, very heavy on scenery, in which case I add the ninja right away. But mostly I just kind of wait to see like where the focal points on the image are, and I avoid them.
Okay, and also for those that are fans of Danielle that are just meeting us for the first time, on thebonebreakers.com, which is our comic, there is a hidden ninja on every page of the Bonebreakers story.
Yeah.
It's just a little tiny, almost a Where's Waldo factor to the art, but there's a secret story version. It's a reason why the ninjas are there. You're just not going to learn that secret for like 2 more years.
Yeah, there's always a ninja.
Another question came here is like, are there going to be ninja casts again? Yes, there will be ninja casts very, very soon. That is part of our Patreon, and we understand that we're behind on those. This is partially because I personally was having some complications and was needing to get a little bit more rest, and when I wasn't having complications, I was traveling cross-country. But now that I'm rested up, healed up, and in an office again, we're going to try to do a ninja cast very, very soon. What's more fun to draw, koalas or pandas?
I can give you a technical reason and a sentimental reason.
Sure.
I have both.
You are allowed to talk on this Sketchcast, yes.
No. Okay. For sentimental reasons, I think pandas are a lot more fun. Mostly because everybody loves pandas, and fuck koalas. On the other hand, also pandas for technical reasons because the pandas have that kind of a visual high contrast thing of black and white. So there's a lot of artistic playing around that you can do with pandas and their kind of high contrast setup that makes for a lot of fun. And fuck koalas. Koalas are vicious little creatures that murder Japanese tourists. So it's not. It's koalas are not okay, and we need to be aware of the koala threat.
Danielle, for your answer, I'm going to give the audience a quick warning. I'm about to click on her image. It might be a little bit spoilery since she is working on tomorrow's comic.
Yeah. Pandas. And I don't really have much of a reason except that koalas have a weirder looking nose. I don't know.
Oh, and they have that second thumb. And you know what that thumb is for? It's for sticking it up your ass. No, it's an ass thumb. They stick that thumb up your ass.
Wait, are you serious?
Oh, totally, yeah.
Because I'm really gullible, so if you're lying, I'm just going to believe you.
Well, you're making me feel guilty. No, Danielle.
I wasn't sure. I feel like I would have heard that one if it was true, but...
No, Danielle. Koalas thumb is not for sticking up your ass.
It could have been. I've heard weirder shit.
But yeah, that's an ass-sticking thumb. And yeah.
Hey, koalas are into that.
Oh yeah. They love sticking their thumbs up people's
Well, yeah,
asses.
with their double assholes that they have. I mean, you gotta have 2 thumbs.
There's a Japanese game kids play called Kancho, and I believe it's that the kids they like sneak up behind you and they put their hands together and extend their indexes, and they poke you in the ass, and they yell "Cancho," and this is totally serious. Like this is for real. This is something
I was
that
ready
happens.
to be like, I'm not gonna fall for it this time. Oh.
No. This is actually something you can just, this happens. But I'm going to go out there and say koalas probably invented Cancho.
Fair enough.
Okay, on that note, it's going to close it for our questions for tonight. And I'm going to first turn it to Danielle and ask if there's anything that you would like to shill real quick, and we'll ignore the jovial laughter of children in the background.
Aww. I had to look behind me for a moment. I was like, wait, in my house? I don't...
No, that's me. Sorry.
Good thing.
You got invaded.
Oh, cool. I guess just the Kickstarter in hopefully a month. Hopefully in May, I'll have started that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have, and I mean, there isn't a whole lot. I feel like there are fewer rewards for other people, for people who are donating, than there are for myself and the people who are actually going to enjoy meeting me. If they do enjoy meeting me. It is mostly just to really raise funds for myself and for the assistants that I'm going to have coming with me, and also for, of course, most importantly, actually, the guest strips that will be going up while I'm gone, because we're going to be doing 5 straight days of one person drawing, a series of strips. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's no way I was doing guest strips for you right now. I thought it was just one quick pop-in, but no, it's somebody has to take over for a week.
Since 6 weeks, I figured it'd be much easier to just get each artist to do, just get 6 artists, get them each to do a week.
Yeah, Danielle, we love you, and I'm a big fan of your strip, but we don't love you that much.
I understand.
Just so we're clear. What would you like to show? Would you like your head of marketing to shill for you?
Yeah, hey, next week we have something called the Sketchcast. It's pretty awesome.
Yes, we do. We will have a Sketchcast next Sunday. I will be working on these technical difficulties tonight to try to figure out what the hell went wrong, and hopefully next week everything will be much more smoothed out. We also just recently finished up Volume 1 of the Bone Breakers. Monday on Commissioned, we will have a link available for pre-ordering Volume 1.
Monday tomorrow, or do you mean the other Monday?
I mean Monday. I mean, basically, I will set this up in the next hour, and you will have a link to put on Monday's update. And then,
tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow. Well, for you, it's 90 minutes, right?
No, that's... oh, yeah, 90 minutes.
Yeah. So, we will get that going. We will try to get... I'll keep everybody posted on the NinjaCast, whether we're able to get one going this week. I'll talk a little bit to O after the Sketchcast as well. But definitely check us out at our shows. WonderCon, Calgary Comics Expo, A-Kon. Definitely buy our books. Definitely support Danielle's Kickstarter. Anything else?
Thanks. Oh, there is one more. I'm sorry. There's also the Kickstarter for Smut Peddler, which I did a 14th story for, or 14th story for. And that is going on right now, and it's available from my website, which is girlswithslingshots.com. It's right there on the blog.
Okay, we've got girlswithslingshots.com, we've got thebonebreakers.com, and commissionedcomic.com.
Which is the same as the Bone Breakers.
Which is the same, yes, but
Today somebody, a neighbor, asked me, hey, can you give me your website? I'd like to check it out. And it was so much easier to just say, the Bone Breakers.
Yes. That being said, I really have to pee right now. So I think we're going to wrap this up and say goodbye and say thank you for our guest, Danielle. Thank you, O, as always, for being O. And thank you, Battle Clock, for keeping the artists honest.